energy company. And therefore, in fact, our board-approved long-term strategy says clearly that we'll keep an eye on the renewable energy space. We'll keep an eye on it. In fact, there is talk internally about our cooperating or working with Total in some of the renewable energy projects they're thinking about in northern Nigeria. But from a strategic commercial point of view, at this point, we keep an eye on it because that is the future. And if you're in that space, you keep an eye on what will be the future. Today, we are in the business of displacing diesel-generated electricity with gas. And it does a lot of things. The 30 years before 2012, domestic demand for gas was just about 300 million scf over a 30-year period. There was no demand for it. There was no market for it. There was no price for it. Government imposed all kinds of penalties on flaring. Those penalties did not reduce flaring. In the 5 years between 2012 and 2017, when a commercial case for producing and selling gas in the domestic market became feasible, flaring reduced by 50% in 5 years. So for us, and I always emphasize this, because once you make a case for private sector investment and proper injection of capital, it's much easier to solve your problems than through regulations of penalty. So for us, we see, in spite of the constraints and all the problems, we still see a domestic demand in the next 5 years increasing to over 2 BCF a day. We are doing between 900 million scf and 1.1 BCF today, up from 300 million scf over a 30-year period. So for us, we're still investing heavily in processing capacity. We just took FID on one of our gas projects in the east. That's going to cost us and our partners in MP $700 million to build, and that will be commissioned in Q1 2021. By that time, our processing capacity at SEPLAT will be 825 million scf of gas a day. So our target is to take this to about 1 BCF a day, so that when demand goes up to about 3 BCF a day, we'll still be responsible for about 33, about 1/3 of it. Now, 3 BCF a day of domestic consumption of gas will deliver 15 gigawatts of electricity, in addition to powering all your big Dangote industries and so on that need gas. So that's the space we operate in today. So we're talking not necessarily about renewable energy, but clean energy to complement renewable energy in the near term. That's the space we're playing.
Thank you very much.
The grid must work because 53% of Nigerians live in urban areas. Urban areas are best and most efficiently served by the grid. The non-grid solutions ought to go to those non-urban areas that are far away from the grid. That's how it should be. And one complements the other, and you have electricity across the entire nation. When you have non-grid solutions becoming the primary sources of electricity where the grid exists, that's a problem that has to be solved. It has to be solved. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. But the point must be made that the one government that makes power its priority in this country, when that government comes, that's when this country starts to move forward. If that's all that government does, that's the only time we start to move forward.